let's do this first. Hello! Oh my goodness, I almost forgot how to push all the buttons. Or what I should be doing before I push all the buttons. Oh, it's been good to be away for a while, and it's good to be back. I am very looking forward to chatting to folks that show up today, hopefully. And if not, I'm going to be back on Thursday morning, hopefully with some teaching. But in the meantime, I am messing with pretzel rocks because it was supposed to put a little blurb at the beginning and it didn't. So, give me a second here while I fix this. Let's see what happens with that. I got the setting changed. It is kind of a problem right now. Now, those of you who stream may have run into it. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just having the trouble. But it's really occasionally, if I try to use pretzel rocks and I don't have the information showing up in the settings, then Twitch or somebody mutes the sound, thinking that I'm playing licensed music instead of protected, the licensed music the music that Pretzel Rock uses, which is I can play and not have to worry about having the license because it's through them. They have taken care of that part. So, it's one thing after the other, really. I hope I have this setting right. I'm sorry, I'm still looking at it a little bit. Anyway, it is frustrating because it doesn't really mute it, but it has this little sign on there that makes it act like it's going to mute it, which makes people probably turn the video off because they think they're not going to be able to hear anything, and that's pretty irritating. So I'm going around with Pretzel Rock right now, but hopefully it'll get worked out. I keep saying I wish they would release all of their beta, but I know these things take time because they have a lot better music on that beta. Well, as you can see behind me, we've got sunshine today, although I did not know, nor do I know if I will continue to stream the whole 2 hours because we also have a lot of wind. We have a tropical storm going through, and I live in the central part of the United States, Midwest part, and it's kind of unusual, but we have had more tropical storms go through this year, and of course the down south have had more hurricanes, more tropical storms, more named storms, a record year this year, and it's inevitable that they get up our way. So we have high wind today, have had a few limbs, we have things banging around. It seems to be ebbing, and hopefully my power outages that happened earlier today won't come back, and I'll be here for the 2 hours because I am looking forward to spinning for the 2 hours and hopefully chatting. And I just spilled my tea because I was holding it. It's chilly. It's wintertime, but not like 20 degrees outside. It's probably in the 40s, but it's chilly in the house because the wind blows through the old house, and I'm a little chilly today, so I'm kind of bundled up, and I've got some hot tea, and I'm trying to keep warm. Let me go to, let's see here, my table. I've got this that I'll talk about in a little bit. I'm going to take it off because it's a bit distracting there. And I might be able to get this a little closer. Because I want to talk about the Polworth that I was spinning on the Yara before I went on vacation. I came home with it almost done. I mean, I had probably an eighth of an ounce left to spin. And so I was busy getting things done for a couple days because when you're away, there's just tons of stuff to do when you get back. And I finally got time to sit down and finish up the bobbin. So this is the Yara bobbin of it. It is 100% Polworth. This is a smattering of the colors that I kind of put together. The braid was, as you can see, very short strips of color. And in all honesty, that kind of made it harder to figure out how to spin. If I had really felt like and had the energy to do it, I would have taken each of these little strips of color and made the faux rologs, with my hand cards, and put those in some sequence of color and made a progression as I spun by using those rologs. Did not want to take the time. I have 8 ounces. It's a lot of work to do. And I just decided that I would take the braid exactly as it was, take a chunk off the end, and draft straight off the end. And this is how it looks when I came and finished it up. I have very dark brown areas, I have very reddish and pink, and I have light purples. So I have a lot of different colors, and they're pretty long. They're pretty long strips of single on the color, because as I drafted it out, I could pull that color longer. It may look this short here, but as I draft it out, of course, it gets longer and longer. So the actual strips of color are pretty long, and you can see that in these swatches that I've made, that, all of this is a purple and a white, and right here at the top, it doesn't look quite as purple in the knitted area. This is more of a brown purple, brownish purple, or it's not true brown. This is this polar single plied with a single of a fawn colored alpaca. And I did this because the whole time I was spinning this, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to put with this. I don't want to self-ply it back on itself for 2 reasons. I want the whole 8 ounces so that I can make something or a number of somethings out of it. And 2, I didn't think the colors would look good at all plied back on each other. You would have no control of what hit with what. So instead of doing that, I went ahead and decided that I would find something that was another 8 ounces that I had in my stash and spin that also, and do ply with something else. This alpaca I already had spun, and I did both of these swatches this morning because I was at a decision point. But this is the second swatch that I made, and it is with the merino that I'm going to start spinning today, which is this really pretty brown. And this is a natural color, by the way. This is the color of the sheep. And so it is, and it's so soft. It is super soft. Both the alpaca and this choice of merino would work well because Polworth is very soft too. The Polworth is not superwash, neither one of the other ones that I would ply with was superwash, so whatever I make, I will have to hand wash. So I thought, well, I will spin just a little bit of the brown merino, and then I would ply that and see how that looks. So now I think I've totally lost pretzel. Oh, goodness. Let me finish this thought and then I'll check into it before I start spinning. And unfortunately, I said there were longer stretches of color, but they were just long enough that all of the really dark area was where I was putting it together with the dark single, and all of the light area was where I was putting it together with the light single. So I really didn't get exactly what I wanted, which is what would it look like throughout the whole spread of colors with one or the other. On the other hand, I can tell that I'm going to have barber pulling, and it's going to be very indistinct when I'm in dark color with dark color, and it's going to be very distinct when I'm in light color with a dark color. And there's just not going to be any way around it. I am going to have to settle for whatever I knit with this or do with this. Big areas of solid dark and big areas of this kind of look, where the barber pole knits into a tweed look. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to make with it. I have not considered that at all. I haven't looked into it at all. And, I'll decide after I figure up yardage. I'm getting a decent DK weight. This sample here measured 12 wraps per inch. And it's a soft, fluffy, bouncy, it really feels good. So it would make something very comforting. And if I'm not real picky about how the colors fall, would just probably knit up really fast and be really nice. So let me tell you a little bit about the comeback sheep, because I had never heard of it. I really hadn't ever heard of it. And it is one of our study breeds on the 52 weeks of sheep. And so I haven't actually gotten their write-up of it, but I looked in my 3 breed books, and only one had it, and had a really short blurb about it. And the comeback word comes from the fact that they're trying to take a breed of sheep bred to a merino and go back towards the merino as much as possible. In other words, that's why they call it Comeback Merino. And they were starting with long wools from the British long wools. And the New Zealand people were doing this, and it was in the early 70s probably, so it's a really new breed. And the idea was they needed a breed of merino that would do better in wetter areas. If you think about the merino fleece and unattended sheep that are on a wide open range, they're going to have a lot of difficulty with their fiber matting. If they rub against anything, even each other, any kind of moisture could end up felting that fleece. And I think that was probably the original thought of taking a long wool, which is very hard to felt, and getting that genetics into the merino. Several things happened in the actual sheep. They stayed basically about the same size and everything. They tend to be a little meatier. They tend to be better for meat. And they don't have these great big folds of fur or of wool around their neck. If you've seen pictures of merino, they look like they're wearing a scarf that is just scrunched up about 4 times around their neck, right? And I'm sure that's really hard to shear. And they achieved getting a merino fleece that is as soft as a merino, and getting some of that off of the sheep so that they're easier to shear. And so it's been around a while, but it's not a real common sheep, and it's not raised much in the United States. And I'm kind of surprised because the wool is wonderful, at least the sample I got. This brown is unusual. It usually is white, and I'm sure that's why the store I got it from, the woolery, got it, because of its unusual color, and also because of the softness of it. Just makes it wonderful to spin. They also said in some of the things I was reading off of when I was online looking it up. They also said that the they went after they got their basic comeback from the long wools. They started using Polworth and something else, but they were definitely going for the softer. And I know it's a fact that they don't like anything but white, but this may not have come from New Zealand. This may have come from someplace in the United States that had a flock of them and ended up having some nice brown colors. It's hard telling. I love finding the oddball thing of a breed of sheep. I totally bought this because it was on our study sheet. I totally had no idea what I would get. It was on the website, just listed as 8 ounces of it and a price. And I just said, oh, I don't care, I'll go for it. And then I get this beautiful brown color, and I was so happy with it. And it is going to be, I think, a really perfect match for this Polworth when I spin the single. And I'm going to spin it on the Yara, just like I did the Polworth. So that's all about where you look underneath where the camera is, you see spinning comeback breed of merino. That's all what that means. That is what I'm spinning today. Now, let me see what's going on here. Pretzel is not putting its little notice in the thing. I don't like that. So I'm going to poke at the settings here a little bit. And I've turned it up so you can have a little bit of music while I'm doing that. I think I'm going to go off of this and check this again. Oh, it's always something, isn't it? I'm supposed to have little settings that say okay. Instrumental only, YouTube safe mode. Announce what's playing in chat. I've got it checked. It's always something. You know, I was, there we go. Oh, there it is. And then I went and turned it off. Okay, I'll turn it back on. I fixed it and didn't know it because I didn't have it up in front of me. Oh, we have a helicopter going over. Can you hear it? Nope. Okay. We'll try that. Now I'm going to get to spinning. It's about the only thing I know how to take care of anymore, I'll tell you. This Twitch is driving me crazy sometimes. tell you more about that in a minute. All right, let me get this on my spinning wheel. I may talk about this again if other people come in. And I don't have a cat with me today, but I should have. Door's open. Hopefully he'll come in. One of the nice things about this, let's see if I can, one of the nice things about this fiber is I don't have to pre-draft it. All I have to do is take strips off because it is very thick in the roving itself. But then I can take and just take a strip like that, and it's real super easy to draft and really nice to spin. It's spinning reasonably fine. Being a merino, it probably will puff when I wash it. Polworth doesn't do that as much, and alpaca doesn't do it at all, which was something that I would need to take into consideration. That's why I made my swatches. I plan to wash them and see what they change in gauge and that sort of thing. One of the knitting designers I really like sent out some emails about, she titled them "Why Swatches Lie." And you know, it's she's saying is you go and you be really diligent and you make your swatch with your yarn before you knit anything out of the yarn, and even wash it or whatever, you know, and measure it and decide your needle size based on that, and then you make your whole garment and it doesn't fit. And she's talking about the reasons behind that. And some of the reasons I know, that is the difference between a tiny swatch and the big thing is the weight of the garment. And so what she suggested was, when you do your swatch and let it dry, put a little weight on it somehow, hang it instead of laying it flat. Now, I don't know about that. If I make such tiny swatches, I guess I could pin something on it, but anyway, that was part of it. It is something that we all struggle with as we knit, though. There's always an unknown. Will I get the size I want? What kind of ease is in the garment, and you know, am I under more stress and so I knit at a different tension? I mean, there's just many things that make a difference. And then you add to that the unknown of hand-spun yarn, and you have even more to be concerned about. I got the wrong thing here. I got the big piece of roving instead of little pieces. Let's put that back there. Now I'm going to take a sip of tea. Earl Grey. Good tea. So this may be kind of dull to watch. It's being spun, in spite of its beautiful color and my enthusiasm for it. It is brown. And I noticed a big difference when I was knitting the two swatches and I had the dark swatch. It was like, I need more light. This is too dark. It's dark in here anyway, and I can't see this. All right. It feels so good to spin again. I did spin yesterday, but I did not spin at all during the vacation. I did knit. I took knitting with me. I got a couple Christmas presents made. So time was not wasted. It was wonderful to be with my mom. Really, really had not seen her since February, and I talked to her, but it's you got to put your face on them now and then just to make sure they're saying what they mean. And she is doing fine. So I probably won't see her now again if things continue the way they are. I probably won't travel again until late February, the 1st of March. I don't know why. I have that music turned up. I must have a really soft, relaxing channel in there. No, I said Twitch drives me crazy. I do not feel like I have any control over what happens. Like I don't understand something, or I don't know. But I made a short video that basically said I'm going on vacation, I'll be back, and it popped up as a trailer on my front page, which is fine. That's what I wanted to do. But they also played my last stream. They started it automatically. I don't know if I have that set up as a setting or what. I gotta look into that. But so both were playing at the same time. And I came home and yesterday was trying to set things up, just going through everything, just getting ready to stream today, and I opened up my channel on Twitch, and there they are, both talking at the same time, and I was like, these poor people, if they went to my channel and they heard that, hopefully they clicked on one or the other and only got the one, but that really was not, it wasn't right. They shouldn't have done that. So I don't know. That's the thing I mean. It's not very user-friendly because I don't understand things that make things run. And I cannot get the commands to work. Even though I think I have them set up right. I can't get a raid command to work. I can't get the shout out command to work. I don't know why that is either. Of course, I was trying it when I was offline. Maybe I need to try one while I'm online here. The teach-in works. And the spin-in works. That one works. So besides applying this single with Polworth, I need to save some of it. Hopefully I'll have enough to do a little bit of a breed study. I can keep my swatch as the swatch, not true 100%, but as long as I keep it a little bit of the fiber, and I don't have it as a fleece, so I really aren't going to be able to test it with combing and carding anyway. It's just to have it in the breed file. I can't imagine I would ever get a fleece of it. I'm going to pick this change and pick the pace up here a little bit. That music's going to make me go to sleep. It was a very different trip for hubby and I. We only ate in a restaurant once on the way down, and it was Cracker Barrel, and it was about a half hour before they closed, so there was nobody in the restaurant. Barely anybody. We got food through the drive-thru, which I adore. He's not all that fond of it, but I never get drive-thru food. So I was happy about that. But, we'd eat in the car. So we didn't stop at any stores. So the trip down was rougher. There were 2 big delays on the road, and one of them was a truck that had run into a bridge, a part of that holds up the overpass. I didn't see hardly any of the cab left. I really hope the driver lived. Really hope, but anyway, they may have already moved some of that out of the way. And what was left was a trailer full of whatever that was that was carrying. So that tied us up way more than an hour. And then that same day, further down the road, we had another traffic jam that tied us up for another hour. So we were kind of in a hurry to get down there. We weren't taking little side trips or whatever. And it was a tiring trip going down. Now coming back was way better. We went west of Atlanta, and there's a certain place we wanted to go to because that's where hubby's parents are buried, so we stopped there. But that particular journey took us away from Atlanta. I didn't have to go around Atlanta. I didn't have to drive anywhere near Atlanta. And it also took us into some of the hilly, almost mountain areas, and they were at peak fall colors. So that was really a really enjoyable drive. And we also added one extra day um, going home. Instead of making the trip in 2 days, we made it in three, coming home. And our logic was that we wanted to keep us very, very limited exposure going down because I was going to be in the house staying with mom. But coming home, we would not really be going out again. We could just sort of minimally quarantine, and if we did get exposed, we wouldn't be exposing her. So we weren't as cautious. We ate out twice, and um, and of course you stay in a hotel, which we don't do anything in the hotel. Um, you walk through the lobby, and you got a mask on. I mean, that's basically it. We didn't use the pool or do anything like that. So I didn't feel like hotel rooms were a real problem. I don't know, it just depends on your concern about it. But hubby suggested a splurge for the last night. We stayed in a really nice hotel, a Marriott in downtown Chattanooga, and it was a really nice hotel. And we ate there, we had a good meal there, and that was a nice splurge. That's the kind of thing we thought we'd be doing a lot of, because we were retired and we like to travel, and we just thought we'd be doing a lot of it, and we didn't this year, obviously. I'm getting a lot of spinning done. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to be home, because I am really been enjoying everything I've been doing this year with the fiber. Which brings me up to talking about that brings me up to talking about 52 weeks of sheep. And because we're coming up to the end of the year here, and let's see if I can do this. See that bag right there with the green thing on top of it? That's what I have left to spin. Whoops. Let's get back on my spinning wheel. That's what I have left to spin for 52 weeks of sheep. Um, Not completely. I have both small amount of fibers, for each of the breeds, and I had larger 8 ounces or more. And I split those because the 8 ounces or more I like to do on the Ara. And so I have this for one to spin, and then I have 3 more that I need to spin. One's a Cormo, one's I forget, Romney, and that one's fun because that's indigo dyed. That's going to be a fun one to spin. And then I have a third one, and I can't remember what it is. Those are the big ones. They'll be like this kind of spin. But then what's in that bag that I just showed you are the really small ones, and I'll do the breed studies, and I'll spin them on the Roberta because they'll spin up really quick. So I am getting down to what was in the biggest box you have ever seen. On January, and I, even before that, started putting everything I had in my stash that was on the list for the 52 weeks of sheep study, and everything I was ordering and buying, and everything that I had to wash, I washed up and put in there. And it was this big box, and that box is down to that bag and 4 8-ounce braids. This being one of them. So, and I'm really, like I said, I have gotten so much spinning done this year that I'm really glad I knew how to spin so that I had that to do during the stay at home. Even though I'm not working, we wouldn't have stayed at home as much if we hadn't been quarantined because we like to travel. So I'm really happy that it all fell together and I got to do that this year. I'm not going to do it next year. I might keep track of their Facebook page and talk about breeds if it comes up, but I'm not going to do the actual study. I don't think. Watch, I'll probably end up doing it. I just flat out like the study of the breeds of sheep, especially the rare ones I don't know much about. Mid-November. Oh my goodness. We do not have Thanksgiving plans this year. We are not going to get together with anybody or do anything. I have a turkey I just bought, and I plan to I was writing something down here. And I plan to make that. And hubby he doesn't like turkey, he likes ham. Well, Daisy Duck, hello. And he'll be making ham too. So that's basically it. We'll cook for ourselves and enjoy a lot of leftovers. But I'm not going to be cooking big like I usually do. Daisy Duck, welcome. Your name is new to me. So I'm glad you joined me today. How many U's you got in that name? there's 3 in there. I have an Aura. It's Magicraft, and it is a double treadle. I'll just put my little, yeah, I can see why you can't see it. Let me move it over here. There you go. Now you can see the double treadle. And it has 2 drive bands. And it has, well, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And great big orifice areas so that it's really good for spinning art yarns. And in fact, the design was a collaboration with Magicraft and Fluffy Puck, I think her name is, that brought up the world of art yarns to us spinners a number of years ago. She worked with Magicraft in order to make this wheel. So I don't know if it's what you have or not, but it's what I go to. It's my wheel to spin on when I am spinning larger quantities of, 8 ounces or more of fiber because of the great big bobbin. Do you know what your wheel is? What kind of wheel you have? Maybe it is a Magicraft and the wood looks alike. I love the wood on this, by the way. So pretty. It's a very heavy wheel. I don't travel with it, move it much, because it is really heavy. don't have my mic close to my wheel today. I got things set up just a little bit different, and so you probably can't hear it. Um, but a lot of times, if I have my mic closer to the wheel, you can hear it while it's spinning. The name's rubbed off already, but it's a very heavy too, and it's Swedish. Well, Magicraft is made in, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's New Zealand. In all honesty, I don't have a name anywhere on this. It is signed under the treadle with a number. That's the only place that it doesn't like have a nameplate or anything like that. I think I've had this. Oh, I should have it better in mind. Maybe 5 or 6 years, I think. Oh yes, that makes a nice gift. I have an Ashford traditional, which is doesn't look like this at all. It looks like what you think of as spinning wheels, the castle style. I keep forgetting to change my hook though, or my leader there, leader guide. I'm curious if this has anything here. Yes, okay. This is top. It says it on the label. So this is commercially prepared top. And I am spinning in a very traditional way for top. The worsted. Very short draft zone. Very tightly twisted. I do. Daisy Duck asks if I make my own bats. I have a Patrick Green carder. It's a drum carder that I use. I often take fleece that I buy and wash it, and then we'll card it that way. The other option is my small handheld combs, and I make bats out of those. I actually have a third option. I have a blending board too. They make row logs though, not really bats. So it's, you know, probably 50-50 whether I spin something that I purchase or something that I process I purchase raw and then process. Um, this was a breed of sheep that I couldn't find as a fleece. This was the only way I could find it. So I got it because it was the only thing available. Very relaxing to spin this. Oh, it just spins so smooth and easy. Daisy Duck said she's seeing a wider range of breeds in the UK now. I think they're getting incentives to bring them back. That's really great. I will say that in all of the times I've been studying um, all the different breeds, so many of them I would get from the UK. Um, and one particular vendor in particular seemed to be really online vendor through Etsy really seemed to be very big into the different breeds. You know, from Wales, she would put together a collection of breeds from Wales, all that kind of stuff. So, but you have a lot of sheep. I think that I don't know if the wool industry is more they're more avid about having wool in the UK than they are in the United States. I'd say that, but we have a lot of sheep here too. You know, a lot of sheep. But maybe we don't raise as many of the different breeds. I have the smaller flocks. They want to go for the big farm where they have big flocks and everything like that. And UK might be doing smaller flocks that are suitable more for the hand spinners. I'm just thinking out loud here, but it's good that it's being brought back and the genetics are not being lost. I know that you have a rare breed conservancy over there, just like we have here in the United States. You know, that they'll put the breeds on the protected list. And we have the same thing here in the U.S. Daisy Duck said, there used to be a great wool trade here, lots of natural fibers. About 30 odd years ago, all the jobs went abroad. Then, of course, foot and mouth came out, and we're slowly brought the numbers back up. Yeah. You know, there's so much. The internet plays a huge part of the demand for those kind of fibers, too. When I started spinning 30 years ago, I could only get wool from a local farmer, right? There was no such thing as fiber fairs, or no such thing as a even a yarn store that sold spinning fibers. What happened was there would be a um artistic community, a college community, and they would have shops like Earth Guild that is. I saw that, Veggie. They would have these, off the wall shops, and they would carry the spinning wheels and the back to the land stuff all of us hippies, were trying to do. That's what it was all about 30 years ago. And then, of course, internet when the internet came along, now we have access to fiber from all over the world, you know, just by going to Etsy, you know. And it's wonderful. It's just absolutely wonderful. How you doing, Veggie? Good to see you. I know Merino is overrated, but you know, it is what it is. I am spinning this merino because I decided that I am going to ply it with this Polworth that I had been spinning before I took my break. And it's going to work really, really good with that. So it has its place, it has its reason. Oh, sure you did. Ha ha. Oh, yes. Merino Tencel is a beautiful blend. I like it with that kind of blend too. It makes a really pretty yarn. Get that shine. Yeah. Well, for those of you who are just stepping in, I am spinning this for the 52 weeks of sheep. That is the whole reason I bought this fiber, because the woolery was the only place I had it. And I was like, well, I'm getting this. Now, merino and cotton, that's an unusual blend for me. Is that what you're saying? I totally got the merino and tencel, or even silk, but I don't know that I have ever blended it with cotton. Oh, you okay? Veggie's trying to chain ply. Good. Don't overthink it. I I was going to say this about these swatches anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. Nothing's working today. Um, you know, this is the year where I have started overthinking everything. And maybe it's just because I have more time, but I had this and I needed to apply it with something, and I would normally have just said, "Oh, I got this alpaca all spun up. I'll just go ahead and apply it with this alpaca, because it's all ready to go and it'll be all done." And I just knew in my mind that I wouldn't really like the intense barber pulling that I would get with the alpaca. And I knew I had this brown, and I really wanted to prove to myself that I liked it better than the light color alpaca. And so I had to make these swatches before I even started spinning this. Totally overthinking it. And I had to laugh at myself because I saw a t-shirt. And the t-shirt says, "Give me a minute while I overthink this." And I so need that t-shirt now. Because I'm overthinking everything about spinning these days, it seems like. Okay, so you're not working, you think it's a treadle and distance. Treadle and distance. Yes, I know, that t-shirt is, I just like, oh, I may still order it, I don't know. Okay, so you like, Daisy Duck likes mixing thickish cotton thread, double and double until it's super thick. Oh, yes, that is an interesting yarn. Then what do you knit? Do you knit like really bulky hats? That would be fun. I have made some really super bulky yarn, and when I knitted it up, I loved it. I loved the fabric that it was because of that denseness that you've got there. I just realized I don't have it on my. There we go. Anyway, for your pleasure later when I get this all done, and I'm ready to get another piece of the bump here, I am going to be spinning Romney that has been dyed with indigo dye. So you have that to look forward to. Daisy Duck says she knits big scarves and jumpers. It lasts really well with kids, I think. Yeah, that, and you can wash it. I don't do much knitting for kids. I have to confess that. Um, I made a pair of slippers for my grandson while I was traveling. That was one of the things I knit. And in all honesty, I used acrylic so that they would be machine washable. Oh, I love indigo. It's magic when you're dyeing with it. Just magic. Well, I'm really disappointed. My cat slept on that bed all morning. But do you know what? The wind died down, the storm went away, the sun shining, so I'm pretty sure he went outside. But the whole time I was setting up for this, he's down there rubbing against my leg, putting his claws up on my leg, like, let me up, I want to have my I want to say hello. And now he's gone. He's going to miss his debut here. Well, not debut, but he's going to miss his star moment. Oh, it's very late in UK. Yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. That way you'll know when I'm on again. I should be on earlier in the day here Thursday. So you might, if you're not working, might be able to catch me then. It's been good talking to you too. Thursday mornings, yes, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's been my normal lately. It used to be Wednesday mornings, and then I changed it to Thursday for most of this summer. It just I haven't been the last couple weeks because I was on vacation. Yeah, Sunday and Thursdays. And it's wintertime now. I don't have the outside work like I've had the past couple months, so I may even add another, but it'll be, I don't know when it would be, actually, but I may add another one during the winter. I have a fair number of European viewers that pop by that they have listened to my podcast for years. And so and I'm still releasing podcasts. So when I say, you know, I'm on, that's why I'm trying to get some times that Europe can pick me up and it's not so late at night for them. And I try to teach a little more, or focus a little more on teaching during, and they're shorter. They're only an hour instead of 2 hours. I look forward to Sunday the most because I have to be prepared and get things together and, and when I'm teaching. Um, but this, I just know I've got to have my spinning wheel and a fiber and I'm good to go. You can find it by yarnspinnerstales.com or iTunes or Stitcher. I should have a command for this, but I don't. I can't type one-handed. I have done the podcast for 13 years, or maybe more now. Maybe this is 14, but uh, I mean, it's really the reason I came to Twitch. I didn't really start out Twitch until with the teams for the first um, Turtle Fleece. That's when I started out. Well, hi, JK. Oh, I can't imagine you can even type. I've seen your painting. Oh, my back feels for you. You say, so I have 8 straight from the alpaca, nothing done but sheared off the animal. I know how to skirt and such, but this is my first alpaca fleeces. What would you recommend for the process? I built myself a skirting table. Okay. First of all, skirting alpaca is hardly necessary. Um, it's really unlike wool in the sense that things um, stick to alpaca like it sticks to wool, you know. But yeah, obviously you know how to skirt. You just take off all that. Now your skirting table is going to be really good if it's a screen and you lay that alpaca out and you kind of remember how they used to beat rugs with a, to get the dust out of it? That's what you're wanting to do. It's so hard to get the dust and dirt, but whatever you can get out before you actually get that alpaca wet will save making mud when you wash it. That alpaca, the alpacas just love to roll, and it is the dustiest fleece ever as far as cleaning. And there's no lanolin on it, as so it's not like it's sticking to that. It's just that long fiber really holds it. So on your skirting table, if you can kind of dust it ahead of time, that'll work great. And then when I wash it, I have to wash a number of times to get, and it still will, when I spin it, where you pinch, I will still see dirt on my fingers. It just feels like it's almost impossible. Yeah, all alpacas, no matter where they are. I've gotten some from down south, and the dust is red, right? Um, I thought I had a fawn colored fleece, and it was all dust. It washed up a tan after I finally got all that dust out of it. So it may change color for you. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's good. That'll work great for you. It's something I don't have. Um, and I tend to uh, take it outside. I have a wrought iron table, which has the cutout in and it's not the best, but I take it like that and just go like this with my fingers to try and get some of that dust on a reasonably windy day. Um, you have to watch sometimes because it blows away. And then washing, I have washed by hand in the sink. It does not need hot water necessarily. It doesn't need anything to take lanolin off. You can just rinse and rinse and rinse if you want. If it's kind of feeling like maybe you don't like the way it smells or whatever, you might want to do your last wash with something that's. I have used human shampoo. I have used Power Scour, or just Unicorn. Um, I've pretty much used everything. I have even taken one of these great big mesh washing bags that you can put in the washer and filled it halfway full with alpaca, tied it good, and washed it through a wash cycle in the washing machine. It did not felt, you know, it didn't get as clean as actually taking smaller bits and doing it in my sink. But I was so tired of washing alpaca one time, I was just like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And it washed fine. It didn't felt. It's on the gentle cycle, but still agitated and spun and all that. Now, I didn't dry it in the dryer. I did dry it in the air. I don't pull guard hairs unless I run into it while I'm spinning like this. Um, I don't know that I've run into many guard hairs. Llama more than alpaca. I'll see guard hairs more. Well, we'll see. You picked it and you saw that. Isn't that fun? I know you talked about it on your trip a lot, and I was like, I'm so waiting for her to get into all that processing. Because you got so much. Um, my question that I've never had a chance to ask is if you got Surrey or Wakaya, if they're all Wakaya or if they're Surrey. You had some Surrey. They really are different to spin. Yeah. Well, filling it full of yuck, I don't think so. Uh, I don't know. I can't answer that completely. I'm married to a appliance repairman, and he would say no. I'm just telling you, you know, because he only ever sees the appliances after they're dead. But Surrey is really different to spin. I have a lot of Surrey. I had to get my Surrey from Australia. Not too many people are raising them here in the U.S. I'll tell you a good alpaca story. You talk about getting it from, the animal. The one time I did get somewhat local to me alpaca. Well, there was two times I got it. This one time was an alpaca show here nearby, and I went to the show. And the lady, I told her I was a spinner and I was looking for fiber, and she said, "Oh, okay, I got it in the trunk of my car." And so we go back outside to her car, and I bought the alpaca out of the trunk of her car, and of course it was in bags, but it made me feel like I was doing an illicit deal or something, because buying it out of the back of her car. The other time I got local, my husband was repairing somebody's appliances, and they raised alpacas, and they sent 4 bags of huge fleeces home with him. So sometimes he talks. He talks while he was working on the appliances, and he's, I see you have alpacas, and one thing led to another, and he came home with 4 fleeces. You were going to make that joke. Illicit fleece dealings. I know. Just that way. Drug salesman. Yeah. What's so funny is when I go to fiber fairs, there's all sorts of alpaca dealers. They have the booths, and they don't sell the fiber. They sell the items made out of it. They have it, commercially milled. They have yarn sometimes, but most often not. They have socks and sweaters, and they don't sell it at the fiber fairs. So it's not as easy to get as you think. Hey kid, wanna buy some fleece? You notice that too, huh, JK? Yeah, I know. It has to be the people who really are raising. I heard so many, you know, raise alpacas for your retirement stories. I think a lot of people bought into that. They have no clue about the fiber world like you and I do, and you know, when they see this outlet to sell their alpaca, that's what they do is all go together as a bunch of breeders and put their fleece in there like a wool pool and have these items made. Okay. Yeah. So that's good. That's good because you went to the source and said, hey, look, you can do this too. That's a good thing if she'll listen. Um, and I take it you saw the shearing too, so you know you can give them some feedback about first and second cuts and that kind of thing too. I have some pretty nice things that I've made with alpaca, and do you know that I tend to like single as opposed to plied fiber, and it's not as hard to work with as wool. It doesn't seem to have that desire to crinkle up like the wool does with its crimp. And that is really true of the Surrey. I will set it after I spin the single. I'll wrap it on a pipe, plastic nitty notty, and then dunk it in some water and set it. But I'm not real sure why I got into that, but I have noticed that the scarves, the cowls, and the lace work that I have done with the alpaca, I have worked with single. Let me see what I missed here. Town she's in is real small though, and I was one of the handful of hand spinners. Good morning. Morning, Rose. It's not morning for me, but hello, Rose. Morning, Rose. JK says her fleece are pretty nicely cut from what I've seen. That's good. JK says I like 2-ply with a loose or more woolen spin, but it's a strong woolen. Well, that's a good way to. I could try that. I tended to comb. I have my great big indigo hound combs, and I tended to comb and pull top, and that's probably where I got into doing the single instead of doing the bat and doing the woolen. So that's definitely something that I need to try and do. Well, hello, Pearcat. I saw your follow while I was traveling, and I'm so glad you're joining us. And you're from South Carolina. Welcome. Well, and so is Morning Rose, which I probably knew but forgot. You two can have some uh, local chat there going if you want. How's the weather there? Yeah, you're probably all right now. We had enough of a storm from that tropical storm come through this morning. We lost our electric twice, so it was a little touch and go about whether I could stream today or not. JK says, I've noticed that for certain fibers, I'll say something about how I plan to spin it and ply it, and then somehow wind up making something different completely. Yeah. Other social media. Do you want a Discord link? Did you pick that up anywhere? I'll put that on here if anybody wants a Discord link to my Discord. Oh, 19 Girly Gamer. You're also a new one. Thank you. Hello and welcome for the. Thank you for the follow. There's my Discord if anybody wants to join. We're not a real active chatter group there, but I do try and get pictures up of what I'm working on, and I welcome anybody's pictures. Anybody have anything to say or questions or anything? That's where you can find me. So to follow what JK was saying, like my instincts say, you might think that, but you're going to do it this way. It's your fingers saying it, isn't it? It's your fingers. This is what the fiber wants. Something like that. Hail. Yeah, I can't go against what the fibers desire. I totally relate to that. Yeah, the shady fleece dealers. We all have good sense of humor. I think reminiscing about how you got the fiber sometimes is just as much fun as spinning it. It's the things I miss about fiber fairs. Having the people to talk to. I would always go with a group of friends. Oh, Morning Rose is knitting a sweater with singles, and normally I like 3/4 ply, so this feels strange. Is it a lopey? Is it a thick single like a lopey, or are you doing thin and lace work? Is it hand spun or is it commercial? Oh, okay. So the most recent example is a blue face luster I wanted to make into a sweater. I planned for a 3-ply and didn't like the sample. Tried again with 2-ply, and I'm in love. So much for the 3-ply blue face luster. Um, what what didn't you like about the 3-ply? Did you chain ply? I don't like 3-ply that's chain ply, but I like 3-ply that you take 3 singles and just run them together. Having recently worked through that with a superwash merino. It's fingering weight. Oh, I know you getting yarns. Um, I bought a lovely skein of yarn from her. Um, it was oh somebody somebody's funeral from a Galaxy movie, Ravener's funeral or something like that. That was the name of it. And it was a gorgeous color. I love her color. So um, it's silky yak base. Oh wow, that's and you're making a sweater. What's the pattern on the sweater? Is it on Ravelry? That sounds gorgeous. Usually a blue face luster 3-ply is amazing, but it was just so heavy. Yeah. Well, it had a lot of Uh, was it spun woolen? Did it have a lot of loft in it? No, that should have made it lighter. I guess it was just kind of a dense single. Criterion by Wool and Pine. You can find it on Ravelry. Oh, I want to look that up. I haven't heard of either one, either Criterion or Wool and Pine. And I did not know Ilgani did Silky Yak either. Oh, my goodness. I actually ran into them at Stitches, which brings up something. I don't know if you're familiar with Stitches, but Stitches is online now. And, um, that I have not actually been there to check any of it out. I just got back and was checking all my emails and saw it. So I don't know what they're doing or if they have vendors or what, but it's going to be a while, I think, before they can have it in person again. So JK says it was a dense single, and I think maybe just the sheep it came from. Yeah. The second single was better, but still, you mean the two ply, but a little dense. Semi woolen spin, large whorl. Yeah. Well, as I think, as you're saying, sometimes the fiber just, it is what it is. It's hard to make it do something else. But the two ply, I mean, that's really going to be nice for a sweater. That should work good. Morning Rose says the last time I went to Stitches, it was Stitches South. Was that in Atlanta? Where was that? And quite disappointing. Um, this was spring of last year. Oh, right before everything shut down? Or last year. Not this year. Last year, 2019. I usually go Midwest. So it's up in Chicago. It's always in August. It's hotter than Hades there. But I guess I just kind of like the fact that there's so many vendors. I have taken classes. I don't normally want to take classes because I just don't feel that they're going to be worth my time. I've never missed anything by Franklin Habit. I always take something from him or go and listen to his talk or whatever. I love Franklin Habit, but I usually don't go to the classes. I just want to go to the shop and talk to the vendors. And but their focus is a lot different. I mean, they're not for spinners necessarily. Their focus is definitely the knitters. Yeah, JK says it was sad because you have 23 plus ounces. Oh, that's a lot of fiber. Yeah, like I said, I think the two ply is fine to knit with. I mean, you don't want a real bulky sweater, you know? It wants to be nice and comfy. Maybe it's European blue face luster and stateside? Don't know. JK says I was considered dyeing it. It's white with brown top and it's from Ashford. It's a white with brown. Okay. So it's like a two-tone. Yes. I was considering going to Atlanta, but we didn't make it. We had too much else going on. That's surprising that it was disappointing because I did think about going. Morning Rose says I miss festivals. My local one, SAF, was completely canceled. Everything was canceled. Everything. I've been to SAF too. In fact, I bought my. It's been years and years and years ago. I no longer have the Haldane wheel, but that's where I bought my Haldane. Was at SAF, and I was planning to go this year, but there's just like there's just no going anywhere this year. So when you spin, the brown and white mutes down to a brown gray. Well, that sounds pretty. When you apply it and everything, that sounds pretty for a sweater. Morning Rose says, I got to take an Orenburg lace spinning class at SAF a couple years ago, and it was such a delight. See, I haven't taken any classes at SAF. That sounds wonderful. Was it with a support spindle? When you say Orenburg lace, I mean, I know that generally they're using support spindles to spin um, mohair or something like that. Yeah, support Russian spindle. SAF is much more for spinners. I mean, it's definitely what was the true traditional fiber fair. It's been around for a long time. You got to try a bunch of different fibers. Yeah. Well, my story about support spindles is that I can't spin on it, and I am not practicing and learning it because if I don't have at least one thing I can't do that's related to spinning, I will never have anything to do on challenge days for Tour de Fleece. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I really can't spin on support spindles, and all it is a matter of practice. I just need to practice, but I don't. It was taught by that old Russian lady. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Her learned her craft from her grandmother. Oh, that would have been so awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Good idea. You agree with me. You can't drop spindles, huh? Huh. I didn't know that. Oh, well, I don't feel so bad then. Well, I'm getting all this fiber out. Like I'm going to get it all done in the next 15 minutes or so, and I don't think I will. But I just may stick around. I did them for 12 years before I got my first wheel. I think I might join you spinning here in a few. Oh, okay. Um, 12, maybe 11 years. Yeah. Top whirl spindles I can do, but bottom whirl completely eludes me. it's all about how you hook it, right? Because they wobble if you don't have it. I don't know. I understand exactly what you're saying. They are harder. I have everything I have is top whirl. You are right about that. You can't, and you're the opposite. You can't stand top whirl, but you're happy with the bottom whirl. Yeah. My daughter spins both. She's comfortable with both. But I really do think it has something to do with how the bottom whirl drop spindle is made so that it's balanced when you have the loop down, to it and are spinning. Any thoughts on Navajo churro? I was considering a two ply. Um, yeah, I think you're depending on its hand and how soft it is. I think you're going to want to try to go as much woolen as you can. Um, or you can do like I did and um, go for a Lopi style processing so that you're just barely putting any twist in it. Um, Hang on a minute. I gotta check something and see if I can find which live stream that was. Oh, my cat's here. Yay. You can have kitty time while I look this up. Let me put this up. You want to sit on my lap? You didn't bring me a present, did you? You better not have. Let's see here. Come on. Come on up here. I'll get the camera on you. We're working on it. I know. He's down there. You see him down there. But I'll see if I can get him up here on my lap. Actually, I didn't do Lopi. I did what's called Navajo style. That... Shoot, I didn't write the live stream. Uh, it was on 10/8, October 8th. And I worked with Navajo churro. So, it should have the label that it has Navajo churro in it. If you want to go look at that, JK. But the Navajo style is... Have you ever looked that up? Um, where they basically spin it 3 times. They make a bat with their little hand cards. And they roll that off and they attach those bats together with the first spin through. Real loose twist. And then the next was you take and you spin that a second time to get it to the single that you want, and the third is the ply. Yeah, and you saw some on YouTube. Okay. Hey. Mine, I don't think mine's up on YouTube yet. I've been working on getting those up too. Show them your eyes. Oops, that was the wrong way. Here, purr in the mic. I'll turn the music down a little bit. Purr in the mic. There we go. Well, you just timed this just right, because it's about time for me to stop. So you made good time. I know, he's a purr box. You should hear him when I go away. He stays here at the house. My daughter comes out and gives him food every other day, but he also has a cat door. And I'm on 15 acres, so he just has the run of the place. So he has the whole house to himself, and he has the whole 15 acres to himself, and, you know. Anyway, but I miss him, and he misses me, and when I sit down, he purrs this real high squeaky purr, like a little kitten, like, Mom, where you been? Oh, drugging purrs. No yarn is complete without a little cat. Yeah, or knitting, yeah. Yeah, October 8th, not November, October, yeah. He's a mic probe. He's a camera hog. He loves to do this. If I sit down at my computer, he knows when I get the mic out. I mean, it's not like if I come in here to read email. I mean, he knows when I'm going to live stream. Yeah, your kittens are so sweet, JK. They're such a handful. He is not that kind of cat. He's not a cuddle cat. He wants his head rubbed and he wants, you to pet him and everything, but don't encircle him or cuddle him or anything or like that. Not even really pick him up. And it's because he was wild, feral, and the Humane Society rescued him, and to be honest, they didn't think he was adoptable. I told them that I lived on acreage, that he'd be the only cat, and they said, okay, you can try, and he ran, when we brought him home, we kept him inside so he wouldn't run away. He ran upstairs and hid for almost a week, and then eventually he started, because I put the food out and he'd sneak down to eat it, and eventually he's just like a lover cat. He is just so happy that he found this home. Okay, so seriously, that Morning Rose says those kinds of purrs send me into a kind of a fugue state, a really relaxing, good thing, I hope. It's on Twitch, JK. I haven't gotten up to YouTube yet. Morning Rose says, we're working on a kind of feral dog, but he's so sweet and we got seriously lucky. Oh, yeah. There you go. It's just wonderful when animals get rescued and they really are in a good place for them, in a good home. Hi. Oh no, he followed. We got a cat that way. A cat followed my daughter home one time when she was younger and still living at home. Let me see if I can get a link, JK. Let me see if this will work. Well, it's totally different when I'm live because I use Streamlabs. Yeah, it's like totally different. Hmm. Oh man, I'm at 99 followers. I need one more. One more to hit 100. You're sliding off, Cat. You're sliding off. Well, let's see here. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you found the podcast. Did my Voice go away. There we go. That's good. That's good. I can't tell you what right now because I cannot find when I go to my channel. Huh. It's October 11th on my thing, and there's actually two of them. That was when my camera went wonky. So it's October 11th. All right, I'm closing Twitch because that's driving me crazy. I'm hearing it twice. I was the first podcast Pearcat Gamers found years ago. Isn't that neat? Yeah, how quick somebody followed. Well, that's the problem. Everybody here is already following. I really appreciate that. That's really great. I have had so many followers over the years. So many. Oh, he found it on the phone. Well, now that's weird. Twitch does drive me crazy. Let me get this reset here on my cat went to sleep. He went somewhere to sleep. Is he over there? Where'd he go? He must be in the window. Anyway. I guess he left. I thought he was still in here. Oh, I'm glad we had our cat time. Which VOD? I can probably pull it up if needed. Well, see, that's the problem. It's October 11th is the date I have when I go to my video creator. And there's two of them. One's for about an hour and one's for, I don't know, a few, like 30 minutes or something. Because I finally ended up buying a new camera because my camera was freezing all the time. And that was one that got split up because it wouldn't restart. I had to completely start over. I mean, I can't say that it's true Navajo style because I don't have a Navajo spindle. You know, the kind that sit on the floor and that they use all the time. I was just using my Ara in what would be somewhat close to, and that's what I did with the Navajo churro. But we totally got off that topic. The only reason I said that is because I was going for as softly spun as possible because it really is not next to the skin. My Navajo churro sample that I have is not next to the skin at all. Morty Rose is taking a break from the sweater and grabbing socks. I don't want to think anymore. That's what you're supposed to spin when you don't want to think anymore. My next knitting project is going to be a Santa hat. I'm going to start on it tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I have white 50/50 Angora Merino yarn that I spun, and I have red wool, and it was Border Leicester Cheviot. And I'm going to make me a Santa hat. So sometime before Christmas, I'm going to have a hat to wear for the live stream. Oh, well, okay. Her current spin makes a liar out of me because this Campbell is silk and you got to pay attention to it. Yeah, this really does spin itself. I am not paying attention at all. It's all by feel. Well, hello. I don't know if they're actually online, but I just got hosted. Look at my dancing sheep. Oh. So, welcome, Road Knitter. Not actually a raid, but hosting it. So you think your Navajo will be outerwear garment or a weaving? Weaving is a good choice. I mean, that's real traditional, right? Blankets. How much do you have? Is it a fleece? I only had a small sample because I got it for the 52 weeks study. Morning Rose, I know. I have a small one. I have a table loom, and that's okay. You know, it's limited, but at least that lets you do some weaving. And you know, the other thing I really like is the small looms where you have to sew them together, but they're 12 inches and they're square or rectangle or whatever. I like those too. They feel manageable, like, you know, and I like using my hand spun with things like that. Yeah, 99 is just not enough. Thank you. I'm just happy with whatever I got. It's a milestone though, isn't it? So I started streaming in July. That's not bad. That's not bad. But that is one of the things I want to do for one of the teaching streams is get that little 12-inch loom and do something on it. The problem is you have to make multiple ones. I did, and I'll show that if I do that kind of stream. But I did linen that I spun. It was dyed purple, and I did a wool that was white, and I made a table topper for my spinning table. And it has these squares, and they're sewn together, and I have a lilac purple one and the white one, and they alternate. I put a little crocheted edges around it. I'm very proud of it. I really like it. And I had to sew them together, but it was a lot of fun. And I actually still have enough squares left that I could make a runner for my dining room table if I wanted to. I just haven't done that yet. It always reminds me of those little potholder makers when I work on something like that. It's not like a real loom because of you don't have uh, where you treadle the shafts and everything like that. It's different than that. You just kind of weave in and out with a needle and have a little stick that lifts it up. Spinning linen is, I guess, the processing is definitely intense. It hurts. I mean, I didn't mind because it wasn't 100% linen. It had a little bit of wool in it, so it spun better. But I can't imagine spinning linen thin, so that you could weave with it and make tablecloth linens, true linens. Anybody else watch themselves spin on live stream? I find it very soothing to watch. Not only that, I can tell when I have to flip my uh, flyer leader thing. Hello. You snuck in. Carowin's mom. My trip was great. My mom is doing really well. Thoroughly enjoyed spending time with her. I hadn't seen her since February, so her procedure went fine. She's all good to go. Had quite a bit of traffic going down, but not so bad coming home. Saw peak leaf color in mountains of Georgia coming home. That was really pretty. Thank you for asking. She's definitely a gem. When I told you the cat had to run the house and he has a cat door and go in and out, and my daughter would come out every couple days and put out a bunch of food for him and water and everything. And my daughter said, well, I haven't seen Newman, which is normal. He hides if anybody comes in here but us. But she said the food's always gone. And my mother is the one that has the wit and the humor. And she said, well, he must be partying while you're gone, bringing friends in. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. And recently we've been seeing a yellow cat, a wild yellow cat outside. And I told my husband, I said, one of these mornings we're going to come into the kitchen and they're both going to be sitting there waiting for food. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is it. I'm going to be calling it a day. Nothing wrong with another cat. I just didn't know if Newman, being feral and everything, if he'd put up with another cat. What I'm really saying is if there's another cat that comes to this house, he's going to bring it, right? It's going to be his pick. I'm not going to try and force another one on him. But it's possible. Yeah. I appreciate that. JK, I am so glad you stopped by today. I know that you're busy, and it's been so nice talking to you. I really appreciate that. And everybody else, too. It's been very enjoyable to be able to chat and not just sit here and spin. So I really have enjoyed it. And Newman has come back for his goodbye. Yeah, there you are. You're hiding. Come back in the screen. Come back in the picture. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all have a good week. And I will be on, like I said, Thursday, Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock. I'll probably be doing a breed study, so it's more teaching than chatting. But that's okay. If you've got questions or you want to come and say hello, you're more than welcome. Pearcat, I am so glad to meet you. It really was nice to visit. I love hearing that you have been a podcast listener. So, you coming up here. Okay, come up here and say goodbye. There you go. Say goodbye. All right. See you later, everyone.